Hello and welcome to BCC Virtual Racing. It looks as if 1 minute before the start or so, 18 seconds in fact, I've managed to get a good connection. So welcome to tonight's race on the London Loop course there, 30.1 kilometres, including Box Hill of course, 2 laps, strong field, 20 riders from BCC, 168 in total in the field. And here we go. And there we are with Scott Rowland straight away. And as the riders get underway now, starting at 1 minute intervals. So this is with category A, category B 1 minute after that, and so on. So we'll move back. Someone way off the front already. Let's just sit with Scott and have a quick look at Thursday's race. Angus Stoneham won again. Unassailable lead almost. I think he'll be up for transfer early next season, I suspect. Probably commanding a very high price as well. So watch out for that one. The Cat B won by Chris Brackey. Davis pushed into 4th place. He's certainly not up for transfer. In fact, beginning to fade away. Beaten by his nemesis Lancia and Darren Charles. And in Cat C, Brian Taff, Mark Shannon in 2nd. And Matthew Slipper bringing up 1st place for category D. So underway through the streets of London. And we'll have a look now at category B just as they get underway, and there they are. Managed to catch them. Let's have a look, see who we can find from BCC. Tonight's race of course hosted by Glasgow Green Cycle Club. There he is. There's Lancia and Davis right next to each other. Can't click on one of them. There we go. So Lancia and Davis in this leading pack now, just past the Tower of London. Not something that's going to appeal to Lancia. He complains at the slightest bump, and this has got quite a large one in it. Box Hill of course 3 kilometres long at an average of 4.3%, and they have to go up it twice, so it's got to test these riders. And not forgetting, I think this course also goes down through the underground, and there's a very short was what I meant to say, little ramp in there as well. Half a kilometre in for these riders, and I might just be able to catch the start of Cat C. There's Campbell on the way past. About 9 riders from Beaconsfield in category C, the largest field of the other categories. And here we are, Cat C. Looks as if they're underway now. There we are indeed with Peter Jones. Can't see anyone else. Chris Reed just sneaking up behind him, 1 second behind in this pack. There he is on screen in the yellow and black now, moving past the Tower of London. And Alan Nixon just there at the bottom of the screen. Ware I saw sneaking in, I think. There he is. And in the last race, let's have a look. No, none of those riders were riding, I think. And there's a rider from Wickham there, Crook. So we'll let those riders get underway, and we'll have a quick look now back up at the front of the field, see what's going on there. Moving through category B, and I'll just double check that this is all working properly. All seems to be, although looks frozen on one screen but running on the other. Anyway, I'll keep going on the basis that it might just start working properly again. It doesn't seem to be. Not sure. Anyhow, Katie Jury, 3rd I think on Thursday's race. She was indeed behind Stoneham and Matt Tom. I haven't seen Stoneham yet. Jury will favour the hills, but at the moment all together in this leading pack of Cat A riders. There's Bruce, don't know who that is, but just have a look and see what Bruce is trying for. A bit of a push here, but is currently the rider at the front. Roland and Jury next to each other. And O'Brien I saw up the front of category B there, and they are 1 minute 7 seconds behind Cat A, so they've lost ground on the Cat A riders already at 2.6 kilometers, 3 minutes 40 into the race, but very early yet. There is O'Brien, in fact, leading the field. Let's hope he can hold on to that position. In fact, a little breakaway there. I'm not so sure that's going to hold with the size of that peloton behind, but it might. And I'm just, excuse me for 1 second, I'm going to have a quick look and see what's going on with this live stream. Anyway, hard to tell what's happening there. There's one of the small inclines before leaving London, up to 5%, pushes up towards Trafalgar Square. And I think, if I remember correctly, the riders go under Admiralty Arch. We'll soon see. There comes Trafalgar Square. Should be a right-hand turn, or are they going left to Admiralty Arch? They are going left down towards Buckingham Palace, which will be the finish. No, sorry, thinking of one of the other London courses. That's off to the right. Now at 4 kilometres, and miraculously these riders will leave London very soon and find themselves in the hills of Surrey. Just saw Sandy Thompson there from the Glasgow Green Cycle Club sitting next to Davis. Those two often have a battle together. Still nothing on the live stream. Campbell, you can just see him, if I can catch him, right next to Davis. Another rider that doesn't favour the hills, at least that's what he says, but he rides well up them, I think. And there is Lancia, still sitting within this group of about 40 riders at 5.3 kilometres, 7 minutes in. Crossing over the Thames, Parliament in the background. And now they head towards the Surrey Hills, miraculously. I'll have a look up front, just to see what's happening in Cat A. There's Jury. I think I've just missed, is that just missed her going through the underground, or is it coming up now? It might be coming up now. Roland just behind in this same bunch. They ride together on the road, so they should know how to ride together on Zwift as well. And here we are. coming up to Box Hill. Here's the roundabout at the bottom. At least I think it is. Yes, it is. And very shortly the riders will turn right and begin the climb proper. Well, the timing I think starts just there. No sign of Stoneham. Had entered, but I can't see him on the screen anywhere. O'Brien is 59 seconds further back, so that chasing group of Cat B riders has gained some 8 seconds. Here comes the right hand turn, and now we climb up Box Hill, 3 kilometres, averaging 4.3%. Not particularly steep, but it's long enough to make a significant difference. And of course at the top of this hill the riders really need to watch out, as that's where it flattens off and then kicks up once more before the descent down the other side. Then back into London, another loop and one more lap. Some power-ups coming out here. Jury just sitting on the back there. In fact, look at this. The gap from the chasing riders, O'Brien, Lancier, Davis and co, is now down to 33 seconds, and they seem to be closing rather quickly, but of course that is because they're on the flat and these riders are climbing up the hill, so I expect those times to increase shortly. And Roland seems to be suffering on the hill now. Jury is 6 seconds ahead in that group, though he is only I should say 4.5 watts per kilo. Jury's at 5.3. That's the reason she is pulling away. Chasing group down to 26 seconds. Not close enough to see each other yet, but there are some quite long straights on this hill, so they may well come into view if they maintain or reduce this gap. That gap to Jury now up to 11 seconds. Jury holding the power. Roland is decreasing slightly, but pushing out 300 watts nonetheless. And here's the first of the hairpin bends round to the left. And behind, the gap has come down to 24 seconds. This is the front runner in category B. Now 11 minutes 28 into the race, 7.8 kilometres. 18 seconds to the first Cat A rider, and from BCC in category B, looks like Lancier's out up the front. It's not what I expected to see. He does not favour the climbs. Davis could be in there somewhere. So also, of course, I'm just having a look. O'Brien, there he is in fact, and Thompson from GGCC. All virtually next to each other. In fact, there is Davis, just hanging on at the back, 1 second behind Lancier. Nothing to worry about at this stage. They are not even halfway up this hill yet, but I would imagine if Lancier can beat Davis up here, he's in a very strong position to beat him yet again. Of course, Lancier quite a bit younger than Davis. He could be an interesting transfer proposition to another team. But as I said earlier, not so sure anyone's interested in Davis. Clearly coming towards the end of his career. And a view of O'Brien. Was out the front of this group right at the very start, but that was some time ago, 13 minutes in fact. Right, I'm just going to have another quick check of this live stream. It still doesn't seem to be working, so I might end up just talking to myself. And here we are back again, and I think I have managed to overcome a number of technical problems, so apologies. There will be two videos, I suspect, for this evening's race. One, the first, might not have worked at all, and this one. But anyway, it's going now, 8.7 kilometres into the race, 16 minutes on screen now with Alan Nixon, just going up that nice painted graphic that was put there for the London Olympics. And I'm sure they must repaint it every now and again. That's quite some years ago. And first look at Shannon and Chris Reed. Right, sorry about that. Chris Reed, Shannon and Crook from Wickham just 6 seconds ahead of these riders. There he is, just in front there. Waray's now dropped 29 seconds further back. White, that is him, just in front. And Peter Jones in Cat C and Alan Nixon a further 10 seconds back. So these riders are doing quite well, actually. I'm not sure yet if it's Shannon and co slowing down, but we'll soon see. Reed, I'd expect to be ahead in this race at this stage, 9.3 kilometres in, strong rider, but one of the larger riders, so again may be finding the hills not to his taste. So that is category C. We'll have a look now at Cat B, see what's going on there, how far they've got. So Campbell looks as if he's drifted right to the back of category B. at 10.5k, coming up for 20 minutes into the race. Not one of his favoured climbs, I know that, having ridden with him up it a couple of times. But still, nonetheless, I'd expect to see him a little bit further up the field than right at the very back. Though O'Brien, for example, is now 13 seconds further up on the downhill. Not taking advantage of the super tuck, though. Well, maybe it's just his avatar that hasn't tucked. But he's certainly going fast enough and it's steep enough, so not quite sure what's going on there. And Davis just in front, just levelling out the road now. There is the Shard in the distance. So still together. Now that could well mean that Lancia is, in fact, let's have a look. It looks as if Lancia is 20 seconds ahead of Davis. This I wasn't expecting. And here they are back into the tunnels of the London Underground. And I'm just looking ahead now. Roland, Cat A, is only 16 seconds further ahead. So at this pace and at this rate, Lancia is going to catch the Cat A riders. And here we go into this very steep left-hand turn now. And this, I think, is a 17% ramp. Riders really need to kick hard here and push as hard as they possibly can. Lancia up to 9 watts per kilo. Played that just the right way. And he's immediately caught up with Rowlands, who undoubtedly just crawled his way up. So Lancia, absolutely the right strategy. Well done to him. If you don't push hard at the bottom of that climb, it just takes all the speed out and riders will slow down and then have to just crawl their way to the top. So that's a great move from Lancia. Now moving ahead, Roland is going to get caught, by my reckoning, by Lancia. That is him just behind there. And Roland was riding with Jury earlier, but she's now 33 seconds further ahead. Seems to be, as far as I can work out, the front runner in category A. I don't think we've got any other. In fact, this is interesting. It looks as if the Cat A riders are about to lap Matt Slipper, category D, who's at 7.7 kilometers, whereas the Cat A riders are at 15.7. May as well have a quick look at him while we're there. And there he is, struggling up Box Hill. It's easier in real life, I think. Maybe not. But he'll keep going. So let's have a look now. What is happening in the field? Jury seems to be the leading Cat A rider for BCC. Roland is next, 45 seconds further back. Thompson from GGCC. Lancia back into London now. This is where the race started. And the Cat B riders, well, they're certainly going to catch Roland. In fact, there is Roland right on the front there, about to be consumed by the chasing category B pack. He will do well. Looks as if Jury, sorry for the interruption, has just taken one of the jerseys. Let's have a look if I can find her on screen. Oh, it's not coming up. I'm sure that's what it indicated though. In fact, she is in 9th place on that loop of London, 15-kilometre loop, in 22 minutes 49 seconds. So riding very well. Lancia and Co 37 seconds further back. Moving back through the field now. O'Brien 40 seconds behind that. I think that's correct. Let me just check. Yes, 30 seconds. So O'Brien 30 seconds further behind Lancia. Davis right there with him as well at 15.5 kilometres in. And behind Davis, I expect it's all shaken up now. Campbell a further 40, let's see, 1 minute 40 behind Davis. That doesn't seem quite right, but if I've calculated that quite quickly, that's what it is. Now into the very competitive Cat C. Let's have a look, see what's going on. Reed looks as if he's moved into the front of Cat C as far as I can tell. See if we can get him on screen. There he is. At 13.9k, just coming out of the underground, having survived the steep climb. There is Shannon doing the same now. Not far behind, 16 seconds, and most of that would have been taken up by the hill. Let's have a look at Ware attacking the climb out of the underground. In fact, does he attack it? Let's have a look and see. Right turn now, followed by our left, and then it's that sudden, short, sharp ramp all the way up. Now he needs to push. He's not pushing though. 2.4, 2.6 watts per kilo. That's not enough to take advantage of that. Down to 1.8, up now to 5.3. So no, he hasn't made that kick. He's pushed a bit towards the top, but that's not the way to ride that particular hill. Let's have a look and see what Nixon does. Nixon and Jones have been up this many times. Misham 20 seconds further back. So let's see what Nixon and Jones do. Jones is a wily competitor. Is he going to push? No, none of them have. So really the key to this climb is getting around that corner absolutely as fast as you can. In fact, take it back. Nixon was up to 6 watts per kilo, so quite well done. Jones right there with him. Misham now. Here is his attempt. Not quite fast enough. Let's see what he does. Holding the pace relatively well though. Not a bad effort. And there's the first sighting of Booth. Now she hits the climb, holding a reasonable power, 260 watts, but hasn't, like most of the other riders this evening, given it that huge kick right at the bottom. In fact, has time to take a drink from a water bottle, not taking that seriously, I feel. Ah, Stoneham, I didn't even know he was racing on Hokema. Ah, that's interesting. Both together, in fact, they seem to have come into a bit of a rainstorm. That doesn't look pleasant at all. And on the downhill as well. In fact, looks as if Stoneham has made the mistake of turning up on a TT bike while fast on the downhills and the flats. Excuse me. Absolutely no use for drafting whatsoever. In fact, no draft advantage. Sometimes Zwift displays the wrong bike, but looking at the customized colour of that one, I suspect he hasn't changed over from the TT this week. So he may well catch up with Hokema, who's in the Super Tuck, or just coming out of the Super Tuck. But he's going to have a hard time riding this. Just like another TT, in fact, which is not really what you want in a bunch race. And here we have first sighting of Telford. I haven't managed to see him on screen for quite some time. Just coming to the top, I think that is, yes it is, of Box Hill. No views off to the right there over the hills of Surrey. And this is the bit where it kicks up once more, just enough to make a difference. It's not particularly long, but it does hurt after flattening off and coming up Box Hill. Slipper 2 minutes 42 seconds behind Telford, so looks like a good performance from Telford. And we'll move back round to the start of the race, or the front of the race I should say. Jury still seems to be leading. Rain now beginning to fall in London. Thankfully only virtually. Now coming up for 10k to go. Lancia 1 minute back, so he's drifted slightly off from the back of the Cat A group. It was down to about a 35-second gap, if I remember correctly, but of course some of that was due to Box Hill. The gap closed rapidly when Cat A were on Box Hill and Cat B was still on the flat, so I suspect, in all fairness, the gap has probably stayed much the same. But Jury looking fairly comfortable in Category A at 20.1 kilometres into the race. And let's see what's happening with... So Roland has managed to hang on in with the Cat B riders, which is a good strategy. Wasn't able to stay with the Category A riders on this occasion, but now with Thompson from GGCC and Lancia. Lancia is still looking good. O'Brien 43 seconds further back, along with Davis. So those two have come together in this group of about, let's have a look, 15 or so riders. And there is Davis. Interesting choice of bike. Hasn't gone for the Tron bike as many of the other riders have. It looks as if he's picked something. I can't recognise that from here, but I suspect a lightweight climbing bike. And I'm not so sure it has that much of an advantage on a hill that's 4.3% average for Box Hill, of course. But there they are. Gap now to Lancia down to 27 seconds with about 10k to go. So it is possible, if these riders work closely together, to close that gap. But Lancia, of course, will have his sights on the riders ahead of him as well. Now moving back through the field, we meet Campbell at 18.8 kilometres now, nearly 2 kilometres behind his fellow BCC riders that he started with. And behind him, Chris Reed, still doing well in the seas, seems to have dropped everyone. Yes, he has indeed. So he's on for a lone attack by the looks of it. Not sure who he's chasing here. He's some 38 seconds ahead of behind the next rider ahead of him. 17 seconds ahead of Shannon. Now Shannon's in a small group by the looks of it. 4 riders. If they work together, it is possible to close that gap. 23 seconds further behind Shannon is White at 17.9k. 35 seconds behind him at 17.5k. Ware, Nixon and Jones still together. A further 20 seconds further back. And there is Stoneham. I think I just missed him. No, Measham, sorry. I thought I saw Stoneham pop up on screen. And there's Booth, 17 seconds behind Measham. Not so sure. She might, well, more than capable, I think, of closing this gap. I was going to say not so sure, but I've seen her put in some very strong rides recently, so I think if I had to choose between Measham and Booth, I'd choose Booth, but she needs to close that gap to make that difference. And then Hokima and Stoneham. So there is Stoneham struggling away in his TT bike in the rain, trying to catch up with Hokima, who's 11 seconds further ahead. And we come back round to Telford. Looks as if he's just coming into the London Underground. Have a look and see what he does. He's certainly raced this course many a time. And here he goes. That's the right-hand turn. Now it's a left-hand turn. Is he going to put in that kick? No one really to compete with. Yeah, he's sensibly saved the featherweight power up, so that was a good choice. Pushes him right up to 4 watts per kilo there. Almost catches that rider in front, and Slipper is still going up Box Hill by the looks of it. Good luck to him. It's a long time climbing that hill. So this is Just for reference, the front of Category 8 is Bruce, still there. Surprised to see almost a solo effort on a Tron bike though, which I think is the right choice for this course. Just been overtaken. Having said that, no sign of a jury. The leading pack of Cat B riders 31 seconds further back. In fact, there is jury. Looks as if she is 43 seconds behind her fellow Category A riders, in with this front group of B riders on the second climb of Box Hill. So with luck, she'll be able to hold on in there. And let's see how Lancia is doing. I haven't seen him for a while. So Lancia still climbing nicely. Roland right next to him. Thompson from GGCC pulling 4 seconds ahead, and that is him there, just going round, just about to go around the corner. But what I really would like to see is what is the gap between Lancia and Davis. Well, O'Brien is 30 seconds further back. I'm assuming Davis is as well. No, in fact, Davis. This is unbelievable. Yes, Davis is a further 9 seconds back. So on Thursday, I'm just checking the results. Davis beat O'Brien, but at the moment, O'Brien is 11 seconds ahead of Davis. I'm sure Davis has got some excuse. And all by himself. Undoubtedly he will claim a mechanical or something of that nature. We're moving back now through the field. We have to be careful not to lose the finishers. The first front runners, I should say, finishing. Campbell. Second time up this hill for him. I'm sure he won't like it any more than he did the first time. Reed now 154 further behind Campbell at 21.2 kilometres. And Shannon 27 seconds further back by the looks of it. And he comes out now ready to start his climb up Box Hill. One more go. There is Shannon. 17 seconds behind Reed. How many riders does he have with him? Still in that same group of 4. And behind Shannon, White doing well. I did think at one point last season he was going to get promoted to Cat B. Hasn't happened yet, but if he keeps this sort of performance up, it might well occur. Don't think he's gaining on Shannon though. Doesn't look like it. Nixon, Jones and Warre, I think all still together. Yes, they are. Nixon, Jones. Here's Jones, and that is just in front of him, Nixon and Warre. And as they make their way through the underground, let's have a look and see what happens here. And just about to make their way back up to the surface now. And there they are, out into the sunlight as they head towards Box Hill for the last time. Measham 23 seconds further back. Going through the tunnels now, he'll pop out in about 20 seconds or so. Hokima and Stoneham. No, Stoneham, he looks as if he's suffering, and that's just virtually 20 seconds behind Hokima, who's pulling away. And is he riding with anyone else? No, he isn't. He's by himself. So theoretically, at least, Stoneham on a TT bike should be able to catch him, but I suspect he's put out so much effort just trying to stay competitive within this race that he's not got much left. up the front now, 26.6 kilometres, the long downhill, before suddenly reappearing in London. The first of the BCC riders should still be Jury. Here she is, just cresting the hill on Box Hill. The rain has stopped, cloud is beginning to lift. This is a key part of the race, this little bump now up to the top. You can just see the top of the hill in view, then the long downhill. Looks as if she's trying to take advantage of that. Just three of them together though, maybe just swapping around a bit. And here is the little kick going up all of a sudden. I think it gets up to about 10%. It does indeed, which is not really expected. Jury with the featherweight power up, great time to use it. Just beginning to lose touch with those riders, but all is not over yet. And Roland is started off right next to Jury and for quite a part of the race, 1 minute 35 seconds further back. And then Lance here 36 seconds behind Roland, just about to cross under the finish line for Box Hill. So Jury, let's have a look, Roland went up there 7 minutes 45 seconds. The leader, Miklos 6:32 and Bruce 6:32. No time from Lancia yet, but we'll leave him there. And I think I will go back to the front, just 26k. Just wanted to check how far that was to go. So O'Brien still pulling away from Davis just as he crosses the summit on Box Hill, or at least the timed section of it. Davis 31 seconds further back. And if Davis is not careful, I think O'Brien will maintain this gap. And O'Brien often out by himself, but seems remarkably to do quite well doing that. Whereas Davis, I think, also has found himself isolated, but he is one rider that sits in the pack for as long as he possibly can. And here he is now crossing the top of Box Hill, cloud lifting further, roads are looking dry. And that does make a difference on Zwift. Here is O'Brien, that final kick after the timed finish of Box Hill. It's short, but 10%, not really when you want it. Campbell now still on his ascent of Box Hill at 23.9 kilometres. Chris Reed 800 metres further back, and it looks as if, I did think it would happen, Shannon, is he still with this same group of riders? He is. In fact, they've got one more rider from High Wycombe, Crook. It looks as if they are going to catch Reed, which I think would be a great result. Reed is a strong rider, but as I said before, one of the larger riders, so Hill's probably not his favoured course. And there is, Shannon has certainly got Reed in his sights and is now pushing. Reed sees him coming, has made a little bit of a kick there to try and keep that gap. But if these other riders continue to work with Shannon, and they're sitting right behind him at the moment, looks as if Mountford behind him might be making a bit of a move. But if they can work with him, they will catch Reed. Up to 7 seconds the gap now. Maybe that was too much too soon. And I think we'll have another look at the very front of the field, just so that we don't miss it. Davis in the Super Tuck at 26k. Lancia at 27.6, 1.6 kilometers ahead of Davis. And there is Jury. I think that was just caught her coming up the top of the short ramp out of the underground. I think that's what it was. But now she heads into the finishing couple of kilometers. Hot on her heels is Thompson from GGCC. He's been riding well. Across Tower Bridge. She does need to be careful here though, as only herself on this section of road. In fact, is that someone sneaking up behind her? No, that was just a Zwifter not showing the correct time. So nearest rider, in fact, maybe it keeps changing. Let's have a look. No, in fact, there is someone sitting right behind her, Nandin. The time there was varying from 1 second to 2.5 minutes, but one other rider there. Perhaps she can tuck in behind him. 29.5 kilometers. We'll stay with Jury now towards the finish. Just check that there's no one else ahead of her before I do that. Doesn't look like it. There is Jury. And very shortly now, round this left-hand bend, the finishing banner will come into view. 4.7, 5.1 watts per kilo. 29.9k, I think it appears round this left-hand bend. 46 minutes, 48 seconds so far. 466 meters actually is the reported total climbing, although the screen's showing 403. Most of that being Box Hill, of course. Up to 5 watts. Riders behind, upping the power, and there is the finish line. Is she going to kick now for the finish? Now, up the power a bit, but happy to cross the line in first for BCC as far as I can work out. Next on course should be Roland. It's 30.1 kilometers. And behind him, Lancia 54 seconds further back. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. So there is Roland about to cross the line. Have a look now at Lancia. I really want to see where. So Lancia's had a fantastic race by the looks of it. Pulled away from all of his fellow category riders, as far as I could tell. Anyway, certainly has beaten Davis convincingly by at least, by the looks of it, 2 minutes. It's a bit embarrassing for Davis, I would say. Now 1 minute 36 seconds, I beg your pardon. So he's now 50 seconds ahead of O'Brien, and 1 minute 36 was it? And look at that, even up to the end, Lancia's got a kick. There is O'Brien now. 29.7 coming in towards the finish. Past the Tower of London. It's a very compressed version of London, this. But just over 300 meters to go. May not say that on your screen, but all I can report on is what it says up top there and what the reported length of the race is. We'll let O'Brien cross the line. I don't think anyone's going to catch him just here. And then next on course is Davis. And by the looks of it, he's certainly about 1 minute 40 behind Lancia, 44 seconds behind O'Brien. No one is going to worry him right now. Nothing ahead, nothing behind. So we will have a look and see where the next BCC rider is. There's Campbell putting in a... he knows this hill well. This is something I think that would suit him, and that's exactly the way to do it. Pity I missed that from the start, but what it looked like from my point of view, huge kick, got up to speed, and look at the speed he carries out of the underground back onto the streets. That's exactly the way that that hill should be ridden. He is now at 28.9, so I think he will cross the line by himself, or at least with no other BCC riders. There are a couple of riders not far back. Next in category C. Now this is interesting. So here we have Reed coming back down the hill after the climb up Box Hill. 27.3 kilometers. Shannon has suddenly, I just looked on screen, Shannon was 12 seconds back, now he's 5. I think that's obviously just the hill itself. The shard in the distance as the sun begins to set now. Can Shannon catch Reed? That is the question. Not far to go. It is possible, but 6 seconds over about 2.5 kilometers is quite an effort. If that rider he was next to wanted to do the same, I think they could do it, but quite hard to talk to someone riding next to you. And as they go into the tunnel, actually we'll have a look here and see what happens, because this short sharp climb shouldn't cause Reed too much of a problem if he gets up to speed before he hits the ramp. And if he waits until he's on that hill, it will not serve him well. And Shannon, I expect, will take this climb the other way around. He will build up speed, but let's see what happens. There's the right hand turn. Needs to be pushing now 40 kilometers per hour, so he is going quite quickly. Is he going to up the power? No, he just lets the ramp hit him, slows him right down. Pushing hard just to keep going, but no kick from him. So the gap there at the top is 13 seconds. There goes Shannon. Doesn't look as if he's got much of a kick in him either, which is a shame. But let's see what the difference is at the top. Can't see. 14 seconds, so gained a fraction there, but not much at all. 1 minute 25 further back behind Shannon. White 1 minute 6 behind him. Ware looks as if Ware, Measham, Nixon have all separated. Ware at 26.6k. Measham 26.767, so they're going up, but just right behind Ware. There he is in view, in fact. Nixon 23 seconds further back at 26.4, and Jones 4 seconds further back, with Nixon just out of view. In fact, there he is on the corner. Booth has drifted away from Nixon and Jones. I thought there was a chance she might catch up. No race would be complete without having another look at Stoneham struggling up Box Hill on his TT bike. And while he does that, let's have a look and see the finish of a few more riders. So no sprint finishes today, or at least no contested sprints, bunch sprints I should say. Always makes it a little bit more exciting. No way Shannon's going to catch now, so it will be a win for Chris Reed as far as I can tell. Category C must be getting close to Cat B, and then there is Reed have a look at him cross the line, then we'll just do a quick summary of all the other riders still on course. Just want to see if Reed's going to put in a little bit of a kick towards the finish. Doesn't look like it. 4.4, 5.8 watts per kilo. He does indeed. In fact, that could be a well-timed little sprint. Well done to him. Crosses the line. Shannon is coming up next. Not that far behind, but far enough. And then, following Shannon, about a further minute back, is White. 55, that's a good ride from White. 55 seconds behind White is Ware. There he is on screen now, with Measham right behind him. Has had a good climb up that little ramp by the looks of it. We won't follow all these riders to the end. We'll just get to the end of the last summary. Nixon now at 28.6 kilometers, about to hit the ramp. What is he going to do? Looks as if he's just going to take his time. This could be an opportunity for Jones. Let's see what Jones does. That gap is closing. 5 seconds, but Nixon is on the flat. Has Jones got enough left in him? Doesn't look like it. And then Booth on her way through the underground. And we'll have one last look at Hokima and Stoneham. I can't watch him anymore, struggling on that TT bike up the hill. But that's it for tonight's coverage. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Maybe it will work on Thursday night for the BCC Cricket Club race number 7, I think it is. But for tonight, I think there will be 2 videos. I'm sure you'll find them somewhere. Thank you all for watching. See you all on Thursday.